evening, everyone, and welcome to our show this evening. It's fantastic to have our live studio audience with us tonight. It's great to hear ya, and of course, our friends at home. I hope you're comfortable and excited for the show. Listen, we have a great lineup of guests tonight, but let me tell you, this first one is a great story about just the strength of the Lord using regular people like you and I for some pretty extraordinary things. So without further ado, one of the greatest judges of Israelite history, my friend Gideon. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's so great to have you with us tonight, Gideon. Listen, I don't want to take up too much of your storytelling time. I want you to tell your story to our audiences today. And so, your story is found in Judges 6-8. And so I just want you to take us through that. What was your calling into becoming a judge for Israel like? Well, I guess the best place to start is the beginning, right? So, my story starts in just any old field. I was doing my job. I was pressing grapes. I worked in a wine press. And then the angel of the Lord came to me and said, "Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you," which was a weird statement to hear, I have to say. I was very confused. Not only that, it seemed like God had completely abandoned the people of Israel after the Midianites took over. And so I told that to the angel. I was like, how is God with me if my people are still under this rule of the Midianites? But then something even more wild happened. The angel of the Lord looked at me and said, "You are going to win victory over the Midianites in the name of the Lord." Which, again, I'm not a warrior. My family is not a family of warriors. I don't know why God didn't call for someone from, the tribe of Gad or something, So you eventually say yes, right? It did take some convincing, but eventually I did say yes. And so I started assembling my army. It started with 22,000 men. 22,000 men. That sounds like a perfectly good army to me. Absolutely. Except for the fact that God told me that was too many. What? That was my exact reaction. 22,000 was too many. And so God told me, if anybody within your army is too scared to go fight, let them go home. And so from 22,000, we went down to 10,000. I mean, 10,000 isn't 22,000, but that's still a lot, right? That, and then you just went off to battle, right? Except God told me again that was way too many. What? Still too many? Yep. 10,000 was way too many. So again, God told me, okay, take these men to a river. And if any of them drink water from their hands, keep them on your army, and everybody else send them home. And so all the men that drank from their hands stayed with me, and I ended up with 300 in my army. I don't know how you did it, Gideon. You started with 22,000 in your army, and you went down to 10,000 and ended up with 300. How did you do it? I mean, that's just it. It was terrifying, but throughout this whole situation, I had no choice but to trust in the strength of God. He called me into this situation. He trusted that I had the skills and the abilities to make it happen. And so I just had to trust that he would get me through that situation and get me out of it. So the day came and we went to the Midianite camp. So our plan was to surround the camp with torches, in clay pots, and horns. So no swords, no spears, nothing. And so I told my army, at midnight, we're going to blow our horns. And after that, we're going to smash the clay pots with the flames inside and say, "Victory for the Lord and for Gideon." And that's what we did. We circled around the Midianite camp. At midnight, we blew the horns and we smashed the clay pots. Fire erupted everywhere and shouted, "Victory for the Lord and for Gideon." Midnight, most people are falling asleep. People are getting tired. And so after hearing all this noise and fire starting to blow up around their campsite, the Midianites start freaking out, picking up their swords and their shields. And because they're so out of it, because they're so tired, they just start attacking each other, thinking they were us. And so we didn't even have to get on the battlefield to win this battle. The Lord had it completely under control. Well, folks, that's all the time that we have for our show tonight. Gideon, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing your story. Thank you, folks, and we'll see you next time.